Hi, it's Rosie from iHeart Recipes, and in this video, we're going to make the best German chocolate cake ever, and we're making it completely from scratch. So for this cake, I'm going to start off showing you two different chocolates that we will be using. I have some semi-sweet chocolate as well as unsweetened chocolate. I'm going to chop both of the chocolates up, and then I'm going to place it into a large bowl, and then I'm going to set this bowl to the side until I'm ready for it. On this plate, I have some salt, baking powder, and baking soda, and I'm going to toss these three ingredients in a bowl that has some cake flour in it. Once everything's in that bowl, I'm going to stir it until everything's well combined, and then I'm going to set this bowl to the side. I have 4 eggs that are at room temperature, and I'm going to separate them. So in this bowl, I have my egg yolks, and in this bowl, I have my egg whites. And is it me, or does that bowl of egg whites look like a breast? I mean, I tried to pop the nipple so it didn't, offend anybody, but yeah, it wasn't working. So in this bowl, I have my softened butter. I'm going to add in my egg yolks. We're going to hold off on the egg whites, and now we're going to pour in some sugar. Once the sugar's in there, I'm going to start adding in my vanilla extract. And now I'm going to pour in some buttermilk. I almost used my stand mixer, but I want to use my handheld mixer to show you all that you don't need a stand mixer. So we're just going to mix that until well combined. And now we're going to grab our chocolate and we're going to pour some coffee. Make sure it's nice hot coffee over the chocolate. Then you're going to let it sit for about 2 minutes until the chocolate starts to melt. And then you're going to mix it just like this until everything is nice and creamy. So now let's work on our cake batter. We already have our wet ingredients, and now we're going to start adding in our dry ingredients, but you're only going to add it in a little bit at a time. So yeah, remember the dry ingredients were our cake flour, salt, baking soda, and baking powder. Just gradually add that on in. And FYI, my handheld mixer is set on a low speed because I want to make sure I don't overmix my cake batter. Once everything's nice and creamy, we're going to add in our melted chocolate. And you want to grab your handheld mixer and you're going to mix it in still on low speed until everything is well combined. Don't forget, if you're enjoying this recipe, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. That does help me out a ton, so I want to thank you in advance. And also let me know what your favorite desserts are down below, and if I have a recipe for it, I will definitely record it. So yeah, leave that down below. So now we're ready to work with our egg whites. We are going to mix these egg whites with our handheld mixer on a high speed, and we're going to mix it until our egg whites are nice and fluffy and resemble whipped cream, just like this. These fluffy egg whites is going to make our cake nice and fluffy, so definitely do not skip out on separating your eggs. We're now going to add our fluffy egg whites along in the bowl, and we are just going to fold it in. Do not mix it in. We did enough mixing with our handheld mixer, so just fold it in. So now we are ready to place our batter into some cake pans, and I just prepared it by spraying my cake pans with some baking spray, and I'm using 2 9-inch cake pans. Once the cake batter is in the pan, you're just going to smooth it on out, just like this. And once it's nice and smooth, you're just going to place it in the oven, and you're going to let it bake on 350 for about 25 to 30 minutes. Remove the cakes from the oven, and you're going to place it on a cooling rack. And now we are going to just let our cakes cool down. Meanwhile, we're going to work on our frostings. In this pan, I have 3 egg yolks. I also have some unsalted butter. Next, I'm going to start pouring in some sugar. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of salt. And I'm also going to add in some heavy cream. Now, I should have just melted down the butter, then mixed everything, then placed it into this pan, but I didn't. I suggest you do so because it's a lot easier. Now I'm going to place this pan over medium heat, and I'll let it cook for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to toast some pecans. Now, I did chop these pecans up. I'm just going to toast them for about 5 minutes over medium heat. And I'm also going to toast my sweetened coconut flakes. And I'm just going to toast those still on over medium heat. I'm going to toast it until I start to see little brown flakes, just like that. So now we are ready to combine everything. This has been cooking for about 10 minutes, still over medium heat. I'm now going to start adding in the pecans and our coconut flakes. I'm going to mix everything until well combined, and then I'm going to let this cook for about 5 more minutes. Next, we're going to turn the heat off completely, and we're going to remove the pan from the hot burner, and we're going to let that cool down. For our chocolate frosting, I have some semi-sweet chocolate in here. I added in some butter, and we're going to pour in some hot cream all over the chocolate. Just let it sit for about 3 minutes, and now we're going to mix it until it's nice and smooth. And then we're going to cover this bowl, and we're going to place it in our freezer for about 10 minutes. When you remove it from the freezer, this is what it looks like. And now we are ready to assemble our cake. So again, we made 2 9-inch cakes. We're going to start off with one, and we're going to take half of our coconut pecan frosting, and we're just going to smooth it out on our first cake. And we are going to repeat the step with the second cake. So just top the second tape on top of the coconut pecan frosting, and now we are going to smooth out some more chocolate or coconut pecan frosting. I'm ahead of myself. I'm already thinking of the chocolate. So here is our chocolate frostings, and I am going to use that for the sides of the cake. I don't like my German chocolate cake with just coconut pecan frosting. I also think it's ugly, so I like to add chocolate to mine. I'm a chocolate addict. So I'm definitely not the best cake designer, so I like to hide my imperfections with little designs. And I'm just going to use one of my Wilson tips to kind of camouflage my rough edges. And as you see, it came out looking pretty decent. If I can do this, I think anyone can. Again, I'm not a great cake designer, but this is what it looks like in the inside. It's nice, fluffy, and moist, and I think you're really going to love this recipe. Hands down, this is the best German chocolate recipe ever. For the exact measurements, this recipe can be found on my blog, iHeartRecipes.com. I will leave a link down below in the description box, so it will be really easy for you to find. There will also be links to many more of my dessert recipes. And coming up next, I'm going to be sharing my recipe for French toast. It's really easy. It's going to be perfect for any breakfast or brunch, so definitely stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And remember, I upload every Sunday and Wednesday.